Ever heard of sleepy money? It's basically, all that cash we've got just sitting in our bank accounts,
Oh, yeah.
barely earning any interest. And meanwhile, inflation's kind of just chipping away at its value, right?
Right. A sneaky problem for sure.
It is. It is. So today we're going to take a deep dive into a potential solution, and that's Plum.
Plum, yeah, a London-based fintech company. They're using AI to help people, save and invest better, more effectively waking up that sleepy money, so to speak. And they're always making waves, in the UK and across 9 European countries.
It's pretty impressive. And you know what? Plum really caught the eye of Kamani Williams. He's an investor, kind of has a knack for spotting,
Promising?
promising fintech ventures.
Yeah.
And he's also the brains behind 17 Nexus. What's interesting to me is that, well, Kamani actually invested in Plum through Crowdcube,
Oh, wow.
which is a pretty popular equity crowdfunding platform.
Yeah.
So it says a lot about his belief in, Plum's potential.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, what was it about Plum that convinced Kamani to invest?
Well, if we look at his investment thesis, a few key things jump out. First, Plum's gaining some serious traction. 2 million users,
Uh,
over £1 billion in assets under management.
that's got to be what tripled in the last year.
Tripled, yeah, just in the last year. And they're also getting close to profitability,
Oh, wow.
which is huge in fintech. You know how competitive it is.
Absolutely. Those are some impressive numbers.
Yeah.
But beyond those numbers, I mean, is there something about Plum's approach that makes them stand out, would you say?
Absolutely. The founders, Victor Tracoudes and Alex Michael, they actually started the company
As a
as a friendly competition, basically,
That's
to
right.
see who could save more effectively. And it's pretty amazing how a personal challenge turned into a company with such a strong mission.
It's a great story, but a good story only gets you so far, right? Can you tell me a bit more about, the people behind Plum? Are they really up to, leading this kind of ambitious venture?
Oh, they definitely are. So Victor, he's got a strong background in finance. He worked at Wise.
Formerly TransferWise.
That's right, formerly TransferWise, and as a trader at Morgan Stanley.
Wow.
While Alex, he's a talented software engineer. He's not with the company anymore, but his legacy lives on in the algorithm that powers Plum's automated savings.
Interesting.
Yeah, and beyond the founders, they've got a great team of experienced executives from companies like Revolut and Gorillas.
Oh, wow.
So they've got the talent, they've got the experience to, really back up their vision.
Yeah, it sounds like a real powerhouse team.
For sure.
Let's get back to, the core of it all. How does Plum actually combat this sleepy money? What's their, secret sauce?
Well, their AI-powered platform analyzes your spending, your habits,
Uh-huh.
and automatically sets aside small amounts that you probably won't even notice.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, they call it microsaving, and it's really effective for building up savings without, needing to make big lifestyle changes.
Right, right. But wouldn't people be hesitant to, kind of hand over control of their savings to an AI, even if it's just those small amounts?
Yeah, and that's where their moods feature comes in.
Moods.
Yeah, think of it like driving modes in a car.
Oh, okay, okay.
Eco, sport,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So each mood you can go from shy to beast mode.
Beast mode, wow.
And it controls how aggressively the app saves. So if you're feeling cautious, you can set it to shy and it saves smaller amounts. But if you want to boost your savings, well, beast mode's there for that.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
It makes the whole, automated saving thing way more approachable.
Yeah.
It's like having a personal savings autopilot that you can just, adjust based on your comfort level.
Exactly. And they've got other cool features too. Bill tracking, spend analysis. They even have a Plum Visa card.
Oh, nice.
And there are options for investing in stocks and ETFs.
Wow, so it's really like having a personal finance assistant in your pocket.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, and to make their services, really accessible, they use a freemium model,
Right.
3 tiers, Pro, Ultra, and Premium.
Dodger.
Each one offers different features and interest rates.
Makes sense.
So users can kind of choose what fits their needs and budget.
Smart. It lets people test the waters before, committing to a paid plan. But let's zoom out for a second.
Yeah.
Look at the bigger picture. How does Plum stack up against other players?
Right.
In the UK fintech scene, I know there's Moneybox.
Yeah.
And, they offer similar services, right?
You're right. The UK fintech landscape, it's super competitive. Moneybox, for example, they've got £10 billion
Wow.
in assets under administration.
That's huge compared to Plum's 1 billion.
It sounds that way, right? But there's a catch. Imagine, a friend asks you to hold on to their valuable baseball card collection.
Uh-huh.
You're not managing the collection, buying or selling. You're just keeping them safe.
Right.
That's kind of like what Moneybox does. They administer assets.
So they're more like a custodian than an active manager.
Exactly. Plum, on the other hand, they manage investments directly,
Oh,
making decisions to, try to grow your money.
I see.
So that's the difference between assets under administration and assets under management.
Right. So it's not a direct comparison then.
Not really, no. And Moneybox focuses mainly on the UK, right? While Plum is expanding across Europe.
So broader reach, larger potential market.
Yeah, for sure.
What about Emma? They're in the UK, US, Canada. Are they like a direct competitor?
Emma and Plum, they have some overlap,
Uh-huh.
but they cater to slightly different needs. Think of it this way. Emma's like a financial fitness tracker.
Okay.
It helps you monitor spending, identify areas where you can save. Plum takes it a step further, actually automates the savings, puts your money to work.
So they could even be seen as like complementary tools.
Exactly.
So someone might use Emma to like get a handle on their finances and then use Plum to optimize their savings and, start investing.
Precisely. And this brings up a key decision Plum faces. Should they focus on, expanding into more European countries?
Yeah.
Or double down on the UK, gain a bigger share? Classic growth dilemma.
Right. Expanding to new countries sounds tempting.
Yeah.
But wouldn't that also bring a whole new set of challenges?
Absolutely. Each country, they have their own regulations, cultural nuances, competition.
Right.
It'd be a complex move. Focusing on the UK would let them solidify their position.
Where they already understand the market.
Exactly, but it might limit their overall growth potential.
It's a tough call.
It is.
So to understand it better, let's talk numbers.
Okay.
You mentioned Plum's TAM. That's total addressable market. It's like 4.2 billion pounds. What does that actually mean, practically speaking?
So the TAM, that represents the entire potential market for, AI-driven financial platforms.
Across all those countries.
Across all the countries they're targeting. It's like the whole pie,
Right, but realistically, they can't reach everyone at once.
Right.
So the SAM, the serviceable available market, that's a more realistic target.
Yeah.
And you said that's estimated at 630 million pounds. What's the difference there?
The SAM takes into account, things like their current operational capacity, regulatory constraints.
Okay.
It's the slice of the pie they can realistically get to now.
Right.
And within the SAM, there's the SOM, the serviceable obtainable market.
That's even smaller.
Yeah, that represents the market share they think they can actually capture. They've calculated that to be 157.5 million pounds over the next 3 to 5 years.
That's still a pretty big chunk.
It is.
But even with a large potential market, there are always risks.
Of course.
What are some of the challenges Plum might face as they grow?
One big one is market saturation, the fintech space. It's attracting tons of new players.
Right.
So Plum has to constantly innovate, differentiate themselves.
Yeah.
Another concern is revenue sustainability.
Uh-huh.
They rely a lot on subscriptions.
Okay.
But what happens if people become more price sensitive or free alternatives pop up?
Those are good points. So how can they, mitigate those risks?
Well, they could diversify their revenue streams, introduce premium features, expand their investment management services,
Right.
maybe partner with financial institutions to offer additional problems.
Yeah, that makes sense. Are there any other, potential roadblocks?
User retention is another one.
Uh-huh.
It's one thing to get customers, but keeping them engaged, subscribed long-term, you got to provide real value,
Right.
an excellent customer experience.
And I imagine regulatory changes could be a hurdle too, especially as they, expand into more European countries.
Absolutely. Navigating those different financial regulations, it's complex, it's costly. Building a strong legal and compliance team's essential.
And of course, cybersecurity, right?
Huge one.
They're handling sensitive financial data, so they're a target for, cyber attacks. How are they addressing that?
Cybersecurity is absolutely paramount in this industry. They need to invest heavily in, robust security measures.
Like encryption, fraud detection.
Exactly, and be transparent with users about their security practices.
It's a lot to juggle.
It is.
Let's bring it back to Kamani's investment.
Yeah.
He put his money where his mouth is, right? Invested through Crowdcube. Can you tell me more about, the terms of his investment?
Sure. So he bought 10 ordinary shares at 27.04 pounds each.
Okay.
This was part of a funding round with a pre-money valuation of 135 million pounds.
Wow.
And what's interesting is these shares are held under a nominee structure.
What's that mean?
So Crowdcube technically owns the shares on his behalf.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So even though he benefits financially, he doesn't have direct voting rights.
That's right.
So what are some potential exit scenarios for, him and other Crowdcube investors?
The most common ones are an IPO, so going public,
Uh-huh.
a merger or acquisition, or a secondary share sale. If Plum goes public, he can sell his shares on the stock market.
Right.
If they get acquired, he might get a payout or shares in the acquiring company.
I see.
And some platforms, they facilitate secondary share sales so investors can sell to other interested parties.
So it's really fascinating to see how all these pieces fit together. The problem Plum's solving, their business model, the market, the risks, the investment opportunity. paints a picture of a company with potential, but also, challenges ahead.
And what's particularly interesting about Plum is they're not just trying to compete with traditional banks.
Yeah.
They're also trying to work alongside them. Users can link accounts from various banks, even neobanks like Monzo and Starling.
Oh, okay.
So it positions them as a complementary service, not a direct threat.
Smart strategy.
Yeah, smart for long-term growth.
It definitely broadens their appeal. And Plum's success, it reflects some key trends that are shaping the fintech industry.
For sure.
What stands out to you?
Well, the shift towards AI-driven personalization, that's huge.
Yeah.
Financial services are becoming more tailored, to individual needs and habits.
Right.
Customer-centric design's also key.
Mhm.
Companies like Plum, they're prioritizing user-friendly interfaces and intuitive experiences.
And we can't forget the expanding European fintech market.
Absolutely.
Plum's success in countries like Greece, it shows the appetite for, these innovative financial solutions beyond the traditional banking hub.
For sure.
But what does all this mean to, aspiring angel investors like Kamani? What lessons can we learn from, his experience?
I think Kamani's investment in Plum, it highlights the importance of understanding a company's market position,
Right.
their competitive edge, and their growth potential. It's not just about chasing the next big trend. It's about, identifying companies that are solving real problems.
With a clear path to success.
Exactly.
So it's about looking beyond the hype and really digging into the fundamentals of the business.
Precisely. And while past performance doesn't guarantee future results, understanding a company's traction,
Their team.
their approach to risk mitigation, that can offer valuable insights.
Yeah, it really seems like a lot to think about, when you're evaluating a potential investment, especially in like a fast-paced industry like fintech, right?
Absolutely.
But taking a step back for a sec, what does Plum's story tell us about the future of finance? I mean, are we heading towards a world where AI is like calling the shots with our money?
It's definitely possible, Plum's success shows there's a growing demand for financial services that are, well, personalized,
Yeah.
automated, user-friendly. And traditional banks are taking notice. We're seeing a ton of innovation in the industry overall.
It's exciting to think about, all the possibilities, but I also wonder about the downsides, right?
Yeah,
What are your thoughts on the ethical side of AI-driven finance?
it's an important question. As AI gets more involved in, financial decision-making, we got to be careful about potential biases.
Right.
Make sure everything's fair, transparent. Human oversight is key. And ethical frameworks, those are crucial to guide how we develop and use these technologies.
So AI can be a powerful tool, but we got to use it responsibly.
Exactly.
Coming back to Plum, I mean, they've had amazing growth, but they still face some big challenges. What do you think will be key to their success going forward?
I think continuing to innovate, adapt to what users need, that's going to be huge. They need to stay ahead of the game, technology, security, customer experience.
And as they move into new markets, figuring out those different regulatory landscapes, that's crucial, right?
Absolutely.
But beyond just Plum, what other big trends do you see, shaping the future of fintech overall?
I think we'll see more convergence of financial services.
Okay.
So companies offering a wider range of products and services all in one place.
Uh-huh.
We'll also see more integration with other parts of our lives, like healthcare, social media, all that.
It sounds like the line between traditional financial institutions and, tech companies is blurring.
It is, for sure.
It'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. So for our listeners who might be, thinking about checking out Plum or other fintech solutions, what advice would you give them?
I'd say do your research, understand the risks, the rewards.
Mm-hmm.
Choose solutions that fit your goals and values.
Yeah.
And remember, the financial landscape, it's always changing, so stay informed, be open to new possibilities.
That's great advice. So to wrap things up, Plum's journey really gives us a glimpse into the future of fintech, a future where AI-powered personalization and that customer-centric design, they're front and center.
Yeah.
And Kamani's investment in Plum, it just highlights the potential of this, this booming industry, and it shows us how important it is to understand the market,
Yeah.
the competitive advantages, the growth potential, all that when you're making investment decisions, right? It's clear that finance is transforming quickly.
It is.
And it's up to all of us to stay informed, make those smart choices to, secure our financial well-being. So thanks for joining us for this deep dive into Plum and the future of fintech.
Thanks for having me.
Stay 10A Show.